This is KGW News at Sunrise.
With 4,700 new COVID cases reported over the weekend, the surge looks dire. But then yesterday, a reprieve from the FDA as it fully approves the Pfizer shot. Oregon hospitals are hoping that convinces more people to get vaccinated.
If anything, it seemed to intensify. And called again, and I said, where are the police? This is out of hand.
Frustrations on the streets continue. Street racers shutting down intersections, even the Fremont Bridge in Portland again. Now some want to know why police didn't respond to those 911 calls.
And then later this half hour, we highlight a few more locals representing our country in Tokyo. This time it's for the Paralympic Games. Their unique sport is called Goalball. But how do they play while wearing blackout masks? Yeah, that's a really good question, and they will explain it to us coming up.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. Okay, good morning on your Tuesday. Yesterday we were talking about the relatively cold temperatures. We tied that record.
The chill.
Yeah.
48 out at the airport yesterday did tie the record for the date. This morning, some of you are in the 40s, but as we take a look at the Rose City camera this morning with good visibility, generally you'll notice it's not as chilly. 55, in fact, out at the airport right now. I think Portland will likely stay no colder than 50, then 74 at noon, and 84 will actually be back up close to normal. Remember, I know you've forgotten, it's still August. That's your forecast.
Yes, it is. All right, Rod, thank you so much. Okay, it was huge news right here during sunrise yesterday morning. The Pfizer COVID vaccine getting full FDA approval.
As Pat Doris tells us, it's a move many are hoping will fight vaccine hesitancy.
In the Columbia Gorge, the federally recognized nonprofit medical group called One Community Health played a leading role in vaccinating many who live around Hood River and the Dalles. They took part in this federal vaccine effort last June, but roughly 6,300 of their 21,000 patients are still not protected. They know there's a lot of false information still out there with the COVID vaccines, so they are moving fast now after the full FDA approval of Pfizer. So are you folks pushing out a bunch of information today about the FDA?
We will be, yes. We're going to probably text message all of our unvaccinated patients, letting them know that it's been fully approved, and hopefully we'll get some more individuals signed up for the vaccine.
In Woodburn, the Salud Clinic is another federally recognized healthcare provider on the front lines. Dr. Antonio German said FDA approval will open minds and sway some who were undecided about whether to trust the vaccine.
We see a lot of patients that come in that have these questions. And so I think this will give for my providers and for myself and that one-on-one interaction with patients to say, hey, look, the science is there. And now we can really say that today with that full authorization in the FDA and lend support for that.
And to the south, in the Medford area where vaccination rates are low and infection numbers are high, Dr. Dan Weiner said things are so bad there is already a slight uptick in the number of people getting COVID shots. But the issue is now so political, some need an excuse to break away from their friends.
And I think people are looking for their healthcare professional that they trust to give them some excuse, if you will, to say, well, my doctor said I really needed to because X or Y. And it feels like that's having an impact. That's giving them some kind of leverage that they can have within their families.
So here's our poll for the morning. We want to know, has the FDA's approval of the Pfizer vaccine maybe changed your mind about getting it if you've been on the fence? So far, most of you say you already have the shot, but you could weigh in by searching for the KGW Sunrise Twitter. The poll is right there at the top of their page. Second most is the answer is no, it is not changing your mind. You can text us a comment too. We'll read them, 503-226-5088, and we'll check in on the poll throughout the morning.
Nurses rallied into Tualatin to voice their concerns about the state forcing healthcare workers to get the shot. They marched up and down Boone's Ferry Road. Governor Kate Brown originally said healthcare workers who didn't get vaccinated would have to be tested for COVID every week. Well, last week she changed her mind and made those shots mandatory.
It's your body, your choice. People should not be forced into injecting anything into their body that they do not feel comfortable with.
That nurse, who didn't want to reveal where she works, points out there's already a nursing shortage in the state. The Oregon Nurses Union says it believes the mandate will lead to some nurses quitting their jobs. Right now, there are more COVID patients in Oregon hospitals than at any other point during the pandemic. The count is up to 937 patients as of yesterday. 253 of them are in the ICU. Take a look at that graph. It tracks the daily number of people in the hospital, and there has been a sharp spike in that since it started back in July.
Well, National Guard troops are in Roseburg to help hospitals there overwhelmed with COVID patients. A task force leader says he expects about 50 troops to provide help to the hospital with things like staffing entrances, helping run lab results, and other supplies.
Most National Guardsmen joined to help their communities, and then over the last 20 plus years we've spent more time overseas and we have actually helping our communities. So it's really good to get the opportunity to help the communities and to help our fellow residents of our areas.
So Governor Brown ordered 1,500 troops to hospitals across Oregon. The first wave of them are being sent to Douglas, Deschutes, Jackson, and Josephine counties. They'll stay deployed in Roseburg at least through September.
Now let's get to some of your other Tuesday headlines. The Lane County Sheriff's Office says a firefighter was killed in an accident working the Gales fire outside of Eugene. This happened yesterday. The Sheriff's Office is investigating exactly how that firefighter died. They're working to notify family and plan to release more details today. The Gales fire is part of the Middle Fork complex in Lane County. So far, it's burned more than 15,000 acres and is only 10% contained. Crews responded to a small fire at the Lloyd Center overnight. In this video, you can see smoke coming from the south side of the mall. Firefighters told us a trash compactor on a loading dock caught fire, but they're not sure how. The Lloyd Center is currently closed. It shut down indefinitely after an electrical fire back on August 6th. And the man suspected of Portland's latest homicide has turned himself into police. He's 22-year-old Rolando Mingledoff. He's in jail now, accused of killing 25-year-old Jamari Herring. Herring was shot at the Mingle Lounge in Old Town early Sunday morning. Later that day, 5 people were shot at a vigil for Herring. They're all expected to survive. If you have any information about either shooting, you're asked to call Portland Police. And those are some of your Tuesday morning headlines.
Now to Sunday's Proud Boys versus Antifa showdown from this weekend that caused some violence and destruction, even shots fired downtown. Some are criticizing police for not stepping in to stop it. The far-right extremist group Proud Boys held a rally in Northeast Portland on 122nd, and several Proud Boys members fought the far-left group Antifa. Police had warned they would stay out of it, and they did. They didn't step in until hours later when a man opened fire downtown. This is actual video of him. You see him behind those garbage cans. Now, no one was hurt, but you see the damage. The shooter has been arrested. Police are now saying there may have been a second shooter. They're still investigating. This is a statement from Mayor Ted Wheeler praising police for staying back, saying it mitigated confrontation, adding the broader public was protected. But some activists are furious.
It was striking to me that the police bureau so emphatically came out saying, we're not going to show up. You're on your own. I can't think of any other circumstance where that has been the case. We are so lucky. We're so lucky that nobody was seriously hurt or killed.
Both Portland Police and the mayor's office declined our requests for interviews yesterday.
Others are upset that police didn't respond to this. Once again, street racers took over intersections in Portland over the weekend. This was at Northeast Cully and Prescott. Other videos from North Portland and Southeast show racers doing donuts and other tricks. They even stopped traffic on the Fremont Bridge. Multiple people called 911, even posting to social media wondering why police didn't do something. Officers say they don't have the resources, and they were busy responding to other emergencies. Police did respond to one street race near Southeast Division and 48th. They ended up issuing one ticket.
you know, that this is happening, and what happened last night happened on the heels of the city's ordinance against street racing. It seems like it's the people that are doing this don't care and know that there's no repercussions. It was just completely brazen.
Portland's street racing ordinance passed last week says drivers can be fined up to $500, face jail time, and get their cars towed.
The leader of the Proud Boys has been sentenced to 5 months in jail. Enrique Tarrio pleaded guilty last month. He burned a Black Lives Matter banner that was torn down from a historic black church in Washington, D.C., and also brought 2 high-capacity firearms into the nation's capital just 2 days before the January 6th riot. Several leaders and members of the Proud Boys are also facing charges stemming from the riot. Tarrio has been involved in several protests here in Portland over the past few years.
It is 5:10. You may be in your living room. Let's take a look at the city's living room. Pioneer Courthouse Square, the bricks, dark and quiet as it should be at this hour, but they're dry. We haven't seen much rain as we started the work week, but Raj, you are kind of cranking up the temperature a little bit today.
Getting back to normal. Now, normal will feel quite warm compared to the low to mid 70s we've had going all the way back to last Friday. This morning we are very, very quiet. Most areas are reporting mostly clear skies up top. It will be, as Brenda mentioned, a dry day today. That includes the coast where a lot of sun is also expected. Here are the current numbers. Newport 43, coolest here on the west side, down to PDX rather, 55, 51 out in the Dalles. We do have a 35 in Burns and a 34 this morning out in Baker City. So here come the numbers for what will be a very nice Tuesday. Plenty of sun at the coast. Pacific City 68, Astoria 71, north winds breezy at times, bouncing up to about 20 miles per hour. And then here in the I-5 corridor, Salem 86. So that's a big warm up. It's a little bit above normal. North winds will be light, certainly a warm afternoon. Similar numbers, but not quite as high up in Longview, 82. And this shows Battleground and Vancouver each at 84, mostly sunny skies, pretty much expected all day. I don't think we're going to see much in the way of any early cloud cover. All right, 7 days, so 84 today, but then look what happens. Closer to 80 or even cooler tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. So temperatures really stay in check and for the most part comfortable. We go back to the mid-80s this weekend. Forecast models differ, but there's one that looks reasonable to me that we could get back into a chance of some drizzle or some light rain showers around Monday and perhaps Tuesday of next week. And that's your forecast for a Tuesday morning.
All right, Rod, thank you. Listen to this. To me, this sounds really hard. Playing ball blindfolded. Local Paralympians on Team USA can't use their eyesight, so they have to rely on their other senses. They introduce us to their unique sport coming up this morning. Plus, women in Afghanistan fearing for their safety under Taliban rule. Our Verify team looks at what's at stake after the break.